Well, it is 7 o'clock, so let's come to order. Matt will be with us. He's at another meeting. He's on his way over here. So we'll work on minutes, and then we'll start on the master plan probably. What's on the minutes? Master plan. Okay, minutes of January 14th. I did some changes with minor edits with Michelle. Do we have other input from Rich? Joshua, you often have input?
I never read them. I started and then gave up, and other things in my life took over. So, sorry.
All right.
I think they look good.
Yeah,
You're making
I second.
Discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll abstain for
Yeah, of course.
lack of being there.
Now we're on to January 16th. We'll remember this is the hearing on the warrant articles that we'll talk about again tonight. So this was a lot more straightforward and clear and right out of the text of the warrant articles. So we're looking for a motion to move these.
So moved.
Second, Kenneth, thank you. Input, questions from anyone? Suggestions? Then I will ask for a vote on approving the January 16 minutes as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I will abstain again.
me too. I wasn't there.
All right, so actually, I'm thinking maybe we should go to the warrant articles because there's more chance of needing Matt to help us edit the master plan document, which he will have on his computer. So let's look at the warrant articles here. Michelle spent a lot of time trying to organize these in a way that would be useful for us, and I hope they are. I spent a lot of time on it too, and it's not an easy task. So when you've got 8 different drafts of the thing, and not all of them are properly labeled in terms of sequence and stuff. Let's deal with data storage centers first.
I moved to delete it from Article 2. And I can explain that if you want.
Well, why don't I jump in and then you can go on. So we've had 2 different votes at different times on what we were going to do here. One vote said we would not have them at all anywhere in town. Another one said we would allow them in the industrial zone by special exception. We also had just a lot of discussion about what the definition should be, and a lot of discussion about this isn't a critical issue for us to try to address immediately, and would have plenty of time to address it with zoning ordinances in 2026. So I would second your motion, Joshua, to drop the data storage centers, and I guess that would be both out of Article 2 and out of Article 3.
So is that going to change it so we can't finish this tonight, or?
No. We can't add anything new, we can subtract.
Okay.
We can make grammatical corrections, things like that.
I think it's too bad to take out something instead of saying supply your own power, whatever it takes, because denying somebody something is forever, kind of, right? And once it's in zoning.
Well,
no.
I think it's the opposite. The way I think about it is, with crimes, if it's not against the law, you can do it. With zoning, if it's not in the table of uses, you can't do it. It's the opposite.
Right. That's what I'm.
And at least my thought was to, I don't think a ban, but I wanted to make it harder to have data centers And by putting them in the table of uses, you make it easier. Because now they're in the table of uses, it means you can do it. Whereas if it's not in the table of uses, it means you can't do it. So I think it's better that they're not there.
I'm just talking from once you ban it, it's not gonna be allowed.
But it's not.
I'm in favor of letting people do with their property as much as they can.
Yeah.
What's the problem with a data center? Uses too much electricity, you don't like how they look?
Yeah,
What?
well,
Noisy.
Noise and power.
Noise?
Yeah, there's a lot of noise out of them.
We've had a lot of discussion on.
Down the industrial park.
The senators themselves, people, in the article that Josh shared with us, that was from Virginia, the neighborhoods, the neighbors were complaining about the noise that was generated. It's a drone.
Yeah.
They also
obviously.
were overdrawing power grids and then
And water.
and water for cooling. And then they overdraw the power grid and then they still want to expand. And in Georgia, they're installing diesel generators to power them because they're overdrawing the power grid. We're not saying that nobody can do it forever, ever. We're saying we're going to roll it into the 2026 evaluation of the warrant articles. We got a lot of comments saying that, from the public saying that we didn't know enough about it, and that, especially when we were talking about those, the definitions.
I just wanted, my motion would just leave as to data centers, we would just leave the table of uses the way it is. Just.
It wouldn't put data centers into the table of usage.
All right.
And remove it from the definitions.
Yeah. I asked Matt if it would be a good idea to leave it in the definitions, and he said, take it, don't put it in there unless you're
Do it all at one
address it as one whole thing when you have time to think about it and really address it seriously. So, more discussion on whether we are going to strike Article 2, data center reference, and Article 3, data storage center definition. So no further discussion. Joshua made the motion, I seconded it. All those in favor?
Alright.
Thank you. All right. You voted no?
I did.
I have a typographical correction. In Article 2, the line clarifying convenience stores, aquifer is misspelled.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
It's A-Q-U-I-F-E-R.
A quaffer.
Thank you.
I double checked to make sure that I was not.
All right, so let's, please scan through Article 2, and if anybody sees any other typos, spelling,
So just
Should conditional
might be
use,
off topic, but in our last article, we're giving ourselves the authority to change misspellings and stuff like that in the
Correct.
future, so it doesn't have to be brought up every time, right?
right.
Has that been a problem?
No, there's just a bunch of them, just a bunch to roll out.
It's typical that every year, or almost every year, towns update their ordinance for one reason or another, and it can be just, we saw 20 different typos last time, and we're gonna fix them.
Do other towns do this, like this?
Yeah.
You know, have the,
Yes, absolutely. That said, most towns amend their zoning ordinance almost every year.
no, I meant, do other towns have a provision where we can change typography?
Yes, if you look at Article 6, that's straight out of Central Regional Planning boilerplate.
Great.
So let's get back to Article 2.
in the third paragraph, should conditional use permit be all capital conditional C use?
What
I believe we use that
Yeah,
convention elsewhere.
the use of the permit should be,
So
should
conditional
be
use and
capitalized, so
permit
that's in
should
the
all
third
capitalized.
paragraph, yes.
And for consistency, zone everywhere in that paragraph should either be capitalized or not.
Well, when we're saying commercial zoning, we're labeling a zone,
You
so.
mean zoning ordinance?
No, I mean rural zone, residential zone, central historic district zone in paragraph 3, article 3. Residential zone, the
Capital
Z
Z.
is not capitalized.
Probably
Lowercase.
should be lower.
I got you.
So, all right, if we're gonna have them all be lowercase in that paragraph, then you also need to correct that in
Okay,
paragraph
I
5.
object to them all being lowercase because that's, they're the names lifted right out of the table of uses and the,
I suspect the correct is capitalized,
Yeah.
and residential zone is the only one that appears to be incorrect.
so. Hey,
Hey,
man.
Matt, how's it going? Big crowd here.
Whereas when we say in paragraph 2, when we say well, this should say in the zoning ordinance, I would think, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
In the zoning ordinance.
In which case zoning ordinance should be capitalized.
Type this.
A lot of different people. One of our problems. And one of our benefits, a lot of people, a lot of input. So unless, if you haven't figured it out, we're working on the warrant articles now.
You are, okay.
So we're moving right along now.
Nice.
There's an extra space in Article 5, third paragraph.
Hold on, let's deal with, finish Article 2. Any more comments on Article 2, please?
I'm pretty sure footnote is one word, but honestly,
It is.
this is
I think you're right.
extraordinarily nitpicky.
Footnote.
Last paragraph, to indicate as footnote.
Footnote is one word, that's good. All right, so I would look for a motion to, Matt, help us again with the language here. This is Article 2.
Yep.
I don't think we have to put all the language in the motion, do we? Can we say Article 2 as presented,
Yes.
Hello, Teresa. And do we say, so we've made a couple typo changes, like putting the word "the" in front of zoning and capitalization. Do we have to mention those in the motion?
So I think you could just say as amended, and just to point out too that Article 6 basically is the blanket, you know.
Yeah, we just had a little discussion
Yeah.
about that.
So that's what I recommend. I would just say as amended.
As noticed and amended.
Yeah.
Available to the public at this meeting?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
if
been
you
on the
want the details
website
of the
for.
corrections, it will be in the minutes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. All those who approve moving Article 2 onto town meeting, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Teresa, you're here for a specific purpose or just to attend the meeting?
Well, I'm here to find out what I'm gonna be voting on, so we'll know how to vote.
All right. That's a good reason to be here. Do you have a copy of it, the articles in front of you?
You can have mine.
What's the next two copies you email me for interview?
Matt, I'd like to bring you up to speed. The first motion we had was to strike references to data storage centers from Article 2 and Article 3.
Those are outlined.
So that's definitely, We definitely have to say as amended here, right, in that motion, right?
Yes, I would.
Because we have removed that. All right, moving on to Article 3. Can everybody take a read through, and if you have any issues or questions, bring them up.
Is there a reason why commercial EV charging station is underlined where the other two aren't? Well, one's being deleted, but.
I have no idea why one is.
So I would guess that just might be in tracks changes, and it's probably, if we printed that in color, it'd be red and underlined.
I don't think so, because the others also have a colon and commercial EV charging station
Oh.
is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so, well, I would vote for taking away the underline and adding the colon. How do people feel about that?
Sounds good to me.
I mean, I think they should be formatted consistent with
Yes.
whatever they're being added to.
Good
We're not
point.
looking at that, so.
Good point. And we have that right here. Underlined, no colon.
um,
So that's,
At the end of the day, I don't know that, like, they should all be consistent here, but I don't know that it matters that they be consistent between here and where they're going to end up for the purposes of this article. Ultimately, when we make the actual change, they should be consistent with formatting what they're being added to.
well, we got to change one of them to be consistent, so let's change it to be consistent with the ordinance. Okay, so commercial solar field gets underlined, the colon goes away, commercial charging station stays underlined, no colon is added. I do have a question here, Matt, maybe you can help me with. Commercial solar field means a for-profit, single facility that generates electricity. So what if it's two facilities connected together that generate electricity?
So then I would say that's 2 commercial solar fields, right? Yeah.
What's the purpose of the word single in that sense?
Yeah.
That's a quite good question.
Is it
Does
to
that
make
work
it
for
so
you,
that,
Matt, taking the word single out of there?
You can't, yeah. Yep, you can do that.
Is
Okay.
it to distinguish it from something in the second half of that sentence, the community solar or?
I don't think so. I mean,
Makes it more specific.
it is not a commercial solar.
I don't like extra words, it gives people wiggle room.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I would say cut it.
And you would also drop the comma ahead of single if we didn't have.
That's correct, yes. So we're looking for a motion to move Article 3 on to town meeting as amended. So moved by Joshua, we're looking for a second.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Article 4. Again, we've been over this a dozen times. But let's take a look for spelling and formatting and that stuff. Canterbury zoning ordinance, all capitalized.
It looks like this has been changed from originally detached was capitalized and in the changed version it is not. I don't know which is consistent with like the master document.
Oh, we can tell you.
I think that capitalized detached is consistent, but
This has been bothering me a while. I thank you for catching it. Anybody help me find it? What section are we?
18.
17. No. There isn't any 18.
Did we change the slope?
It's been discussed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that went back and forth a couple times.
Back to 15 then? or-
Yeah, well, everywhere else in the current ordinance, it says 15. And so we decided to keep it consistent, and we also have that on the list to evaluate next year, to go to 20 and possibly, some people say 25 is a good number.
And the crossed out one, is that deleted out of there or? is it-
What's, are you looking at Article 4?
Yes, second paragraph, top line.
Right. The detached accessory dwelling unit, it used to say it couldn't go on a non-conforming lot,
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
And we changed it from non-conforming to an acreage so that we wouldn't be catching people who didn't need to be caught.
Supposed to be eight, Greg, it's supposed to be 18. And there's too many threes. 18-3. Nope, I take it back. 18-3, 3.
So, but this brings up a question about this document that says complete, but even the appendix stops at 17. I mean, even the table of concepts. Oh, it's on the back side. Got you.
My bad.
There's somewhere.
Bad deal.
So did we determine if that's free capital B or not?
That's why we're looking for capital, for
I
section
got it.
18. I'm sorry, it's taking me a long time.
I'm open at it. What do we look, what's the word?
Is detached ADU capital B detached?
Yes.
Okay, so we should capitalize it in the article.
Thank you. Thank you, Joshua. So are we cleared with that? Michelle, we're capitalizing detached. And we should try to do that throughout the document as much as we can. No, I've lost mine. So any spelling typos in Article 4? We're looking for a motion to move Article 4 onto town meeting. And this has got to be as amended because we capitalized detached, right?
So
So-
moved as amended.
Thank you, Logan. Second? Second from Joshua. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Article 5, let's all take a read through. Again, look for spelling, capitalization, punctuation.
So I've obviously missed some of the discussion on this, but to amend Article 6.9, commercial cluster development, section D, by indicating the total number of lots or units shall be calculated in the same manner. In
Correct.
the same manner as what? Lots and units are
I think
calculated
that's
in
the
the same?
article before it.
Yeah, so you have to go to the ordinance.
Okay, so it's referencing something that's not.
Yes, it's referencing
Okay.
it references how units are counted, and then we have a problem where people say, well, it's not, so you can have more than one dwelling unit on a lot, right? So, but what we're saying is, if you put in a multifamily house with 6 dwelling units, it's 6 dwelling units, it's not one.
Okay, so it's the total number of lots shall be calculated in the same manner as the number of units.
Right.
Okay,
So, and it's for calculating density bonuses. Is
okay.
how we put that.
I think that's a good point, though. I think it
It
should say
feels
that.
unclear,
It should
like,
say that.
So
It
you
should
could
say
add
that.
as each other, right? Indicated that the
In
total
the same
number,
manner as the number of units.
the number of lots or units shall be calculated in the same manner as each other, right? Because we're saying that.
Well, if they're in the same manner as each other, let's look in the ordinance and see where this
Right.
is and which one of them is defined.
It's on page 42. you're looking for.
Like, the sentence totally makes sense and says what it should say. It's just that it feels like it doesn't say
It
what it
feels
should
like
say.
it doesn't, right.
So anything we can do to make things more understandable is a good thing. I'm on page 42.
6.9B.
My page 42 is Shaker Museum Preservation District. What article number?
6.9B. Building under lots and flush are not proceeding. So are we adding this sentence
We're just adding,
by indicating? That word
we just
indicating.
added or units. Good. So the total number of lots or units in the commercial cluster development shall not exceed the number of lots that would be allowed if the entire tract were developed consistent with the dimensional requirements otherwise applicable to the property. So this is exactly what I was saying.
Total number of lots or units in the commercial cluster, right?
Right. So this seems to make sense to me. Does it not, does it not make sense with what's in the warrant? Is that what we're feeling?
I think we need to word it to say, to add the word or units, right there, that word, or units. That's all we're doing is adding that word, isn't it?
Right.
But it's still not, the thing is, you should be using the verbiage in the zoning that you're looking to change rather than
Yeah.
saying something completely different.
Right, we need to
And,
draft it
Can
now.
we say, like, to amend Article 6.9, commercial cluster development, section B, to read
Does that work for us,
as
Matt?
follows? And then give the corrected language?
Yeah, I think that could work.
That
So-
seems the most clear and unambiguous
That's a
option.
good suggestion, and
And
thanks.
since we're not changing the meaning, we don't need to have it, we can do that tonight.
Yes.
Right.
So let's just make sure Michelle knows what we're going to put into the warrant. So you see the sentence, the total number of lots or units. So that would be the that would be the third sentence.
Third sentence.
B, third sentence to read.
Yeah.
The total number of lots or units in the commercial cluster development shall not exceed the number of lots that would be allowed if the entire tract were developed consistent with dimensional requirements otherwise applicable to the property. That's a comma then.
Comma.
Except when a density bonus is granted by the planning board as permitted in section 6.6 and 6.7, period.
Yeah. And then is there any more than that?
No, that's it.
Oh, so that,
Do we need to include anything about the stakeholder development?
No, because we're just,
That's also part of that same one.
as part of the same article.
Yeah.
Yep.
So to amend Article 6.9, I think we do it in separate sentences.
Yes.
So it's sentence 2 to read what we just said, and then
well, that's sentence number 3, sorry.
sentence number 3. And then the next one's gonna be sentence number 4, is that correct?
Correct.
And then we'll do the same thing. Number 4 to read.
I think it's being inserted.
I think you're right. To add
Adding a requirement that no commercial cluster, oh, right, you want to insert that between the third and fourth sentence, I think.
correct.
This goes to 5.
Well, that's why I'm saying we should probably just include the entire corrected text of what we're modifying.
Oh, will that work for us, Matt? We can just say section B to read and put in the
Yeah.
whole thing?
That was my suggestion.
That's excellent. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. I'm sorry I'm dense.
if you look back up at Article 4, that's kind of what that does too, right? It just says to amend blah, blah, blah in the following manner, strike through, and then add, yeah. So we
Is
can just,
Michelle gonna be able to follow all this?
Michelle is not
Slow
possible.
down. You get the dense part, didn't you?
I think didn't we deal with Article 4 is done, right? We don't have to do anything.
correct, yeah, I
More,
was just
right, so
saying,
let's
yeah,
not go
that's
back
an
there.
example.
It
Yeah.
was just an example.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess you leave it. Just wrap it here. It's easier if I can write it on the paper than
You can take this one.
I've got extras here.
So this one, Michelle, where it says 6.9, cross that whole thing off, and you're gonna insert this whole paragraph. For section 6.
And where are you
No,
getting
to
this
amend
paragraph?
Article 6.9 to read, right?
Right.
To read, and then we just take the verbiage from what we've got posted.
Follow that?
Oh, good. And do we have a copy of that?
Take this, you're welcome to this.
Or units? Oh, that's perfect.
So we did down through the wetlands part of it, and then section C, we also addressed that in this, so, all right, so we're looking for a motion.
Well, before you do that, on Article 5, third paragraph,
Yep,
to amend Article 6.4, there's an extra space before the word article.
okay, but we're not doing that. We're changing the article to be this, to amend 6.9 to read, and we're quoting this. And so then
Well,
but
should
but that doesn't cover 6.4.
There's just
No,
an
it
extra
doesn't.
space. It's very minor.
we should make all of the changes to
Yes.
warrant Article 5 as one motion,
Yes,
even though it references multiple articles.
you're correct. I didn't catch that was 6.4. So we've dealt with, we're going to amend 6.9 to read as we have posted, and to amend Article 6.4, add item number 5, wetlands and slopes more than 15% combined shall not account for more than 25% of undisturbed designated open space.
So Josh is absolutely correct, there's an extra space. I also feel like we need some punctuation,
Right before, after the number 5.
the word add should be capitalized, and there should probably be a colon after 5.
Yeah. I agree with both those.
Captain Nitpick, at your service.
And Michelle, do you want to read that back to us so that we all know that it's right? To amend Article 6.4?
I kind of have notes here. Capital A, add item number 5, colon. This is,
That's the only changes.
And remove the extra space before the word article. I don't think she can be expected to read that so as to indicate removal of
I
space.
see it now.
Yeah, that's it.
How do you enunciate the space?
All right, so we're all clear. This is Article 5. It's to amend Article 6.9 to read. 6.9 Section B to read. And we're going to quote the language from what we had posted. And to amend Article 6.4, Section 1. Add, capital A, item number 5, colon. Wetlands and slopes more than 15% combined shall not account for more than 25% of undisturbed designated open space. Further discussion?
There's still one more thing there.
That's actually section I, not section 1.
Section I, you're correct, it is section I.
There's one more part to this Article 5 here, the next sentence.
Yes, but we've got it when we quoted the, it's in this, when we quote this, right? It's in here.
No. No. That's this, that right there is this sentence right here. That's why we did the whole to read,
Right.
because it'll only address that.
What's this?
This is adding a requirement that no commercial cluster development shall be more than 50% residential.
And that's section C, so that's 6.9C,
That's a whole other
and it's just that whole other section. That's this one.
Okay. So we're continuing this motion. And to amend Article 6.9, Section C to read, oh no, it's there. Section C, by adding a requirement that no commercial cluster development shall be more than 50%
Well,
residential.
But it doesn't say whether this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, or a new section 5.
No, you need
So
another
let's see.
designator.
Let's get it, let's figure out what it needs to be.
So right now, this C has 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Are we proposing to say a 5?
Josh, yeah, it is. If you look at this document,
It's in there, right?
it's here.
And it, what is,
It's a number 5.
And will you read that, number 5?
No commercial cluster development shall be more than 50% residential.
Thank you.
So on this one, section C,
So then this should probably read the same way as the line above it. It should be add item number 5.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And then quote
right
it
after where,
exactly as it's written in the,
right after where it says section C,
Colon.
add item number 5.
colon,
No
a
commercial.
requirement.
no, you don't need to say a requirement. It should just be add item number 5, colon, no commercial cluster development
Yeah.
shall be more than 50%.
Thank you, that's
The
good.
end, capitalized.
Get that, Michelle?
Yeah, you're good.
You're good?
I'm good.
So, further discussion? All those in favor of adopting Article 4? Actually,
We need a motion.
Did we have a vote?
yes, we did have, it is Article 5. We haven't had a vote. We have had a motion and we had a second.
Okay.
Do you have a second? Who seconded?
Who first? Who?
Yeah, see, we
I
didn't have a vote.
seconded it.
We never vote, we never motioned.
I move that Article 5 be added to the warrant article as we've amended it.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And now we're on to Article 6.
God, that was a tough one.
That was a tough one, but that's a very important one, guys. I think you all realize that. So Article 6, this is more boilerplate. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 5 as proposed by the Canterbury Planning Board for the town Canterbury zoning ordinance as follows? Has
Where
this
is
been
this language
actually
going?
added?
That was my question.
Where is it going?
Yeah, I think we need to say, are you in favor of amending the zoning ordinance by adopting section, whatever we're saying?
So generally, this would be captured in the list of things. You don't necessarily have to have like a section 19.3 authorized to, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
I think it should go in section 2 in general provisions.
Well, it has to go somewhere and nothing about this.
Yeah,
Where
you
it
just,
goes.
right, but if you just track it in the list of changes overall, at the end of the
No,
ordinance?
we wanna have a disagreement.
Okay.
I think we wanna, the point is because I think we wanna have this inserted somewhere so that in the future, we can rely on this
Right,
to make
Okay.
future
right, because if
edits.
it's in some list of changes that happened in 2024 and 2030,
It's gonna
nobody,
get buried.
nobody's gonna know
I
where.
think it goes in section 2, general provisions, or article 1. No, it goes in article 2, and maybe there's a new section of article 2, section, article 2.12. I know it's like not necessarily in order.
Matt, you're good at these, where these things go in the ordinance.
Or maybe it should be a new paragraph in article 2.0.
Let's see. Grab the actual.
So I was thinking either 2.0, so that right there, or, these are all like the details of this and that, or a new section 12 here. Okay, 1, 2.
Yeah,
The
where
last
in this
one
document is
this
the planning board is in charge of this
Well,
article?
that's kind of right here.
Article 1.
One is so,
Title and authority. Yeah, I think.
It almost feels like it's all in there.
me too, yeah, I don't disagree with that. So,
I would. It's Article 1 or 2.
yeah.
I think 1 might work because we're talking the authority section.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Touching the device.
All right.
So as there are no, like, Article 1.1.2, can we, are we just saying add it to Article 1, or are we saying to add it?
So
I would make it article 1.1.
yes, that would be.
Planning board has the authority to.
1.1.
Yeah.
So we're changing the ballot to read,
Add article 1.1. Are you in favor of adoption of number 5 as follows? And like right there, we should put add article 1.1, which will read colon, and then the rest of it.
Well, it needs to start off with something like the planning board has the authority to.
Oh, you're right.
Yep. I would just say right, that first sentence, the planning board has the authority to make non-substantive editing and formatting changes, including the following, and then just list them,
Yeah,
just like that.
okay.
Yeah.
And including the following means that under the doctrine of Astro generis, means that you can have the like things.
the planning board has the authority.
Yesterday. so
Has the authority,
something
semicolon.
top of
Yeah.
my mind.
But adoption of amendment number 5 as proposed by the board for the town of Canterbury's zoning ordinance. And strike as follows and just say to add.
No, we go amendment number 5.
Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 5 is blah, 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 as follows?
To add the following section 1.1.
Yeah. The planning board has the authority to.
Yep.
Okay, but my question is afterwards, the planning board, or the town of Canterbury zoning ordinance, are we saying to add, or are we saying as follows?
So as follows is the typical language that is usually what's done, and then you describe the
I don't
thing.
think we need to remove anything, we only need to add things.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to add after as follows.
So if we go in this
To add-
previous format,
1.1,
go, are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 5? Add Article 1.1 as proposed
Yeah.
by the Canterbury Planning Board for the town of Canterbury zoning ordinance as follows.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Rich. I think we can all get behind that. Am I wrong?
I actually disagree, I don't think that's correct in that order.
And what,
I think that we can fix this entire thing by inserting after as follows and before to make non-substantive, the phrase add
New section 1.
Add section 1.1 to Article 1. The plan, and then go on to what that article should read, which is the planning board has the authority to make non-substantive, including following list.
Yeah, I think it would work either way, but
It's also consistent with how the rest of
yes, it is consistent, so it does that way. All right, do you know what we just talked about?
I don't know the
Okay.
final.
No, it's hard because everyone's
Yeah,
talking.
right. Okay, everybody be quiet. I'm going to read this one more time and see if we can get it right. Article 6, are you in favor of the adoption of Amendment Number 5 as proposed by the Canterbury Planning Board for the Town of Canterbury zoning ordinance as follows? Add Section 1.1 to Article 1 as follows. Did I put 2 as follows in here? You did. As follows. Where should add be before as follows or after?
Keep the second one and delete the first one.
So it's going to read then Canterbury zoning ordinance, add section 1.1 to Article 1 as follows.
Yeah.
Everybody happy with that?
And then you're gonna have the word, the planning board.
Has the authority
Yeah.
to,
Has the authority.
has the authority semicolon,
Yeah.
then the list of things. Tell us when you're,
that's not a semicolon.
No,
It's, the planning board has the authority to make non-substantive.
Yeah, but there's a whole list. It's a
Yeah.
semicolon. And there's a whole list.
There is not a semicolon. There is a whole list. Planning board has the authority to, lowercase 2, make non-substantive editing and formatting changes, including the following, colon, list of things, to correct, to eliminate, to change, to update, to update.
Oh, I see.
okay. So instead of a semicolon, we went with a colon.
There's already a colon. It is correct as well.
Oh, I've scratched it out so many times, I don't know.
I have very strong feelings about
Yeah,
semicolons.
yeah, it's right there.
No, put on this line here, to make non-substantive change. And there was a
Semicolon, colon,
Right there.
comma,
at the end.
parentheses, exclamation mark.
As long as Michelle's got it.
Michelle, are you
Do
okay?
you have it? No.
Hold on. After Canterbury zoning ordinance, we're going to add section 1.1 as follows.
Add 1.1 to Article 1.
To Article 1 as follows.
Yeah.
Colon.
Colon. The planning board has the authority. And then, is there a colon at?
No, the planning board has the authority to
Lowercase
make
t.
non-substantive.
And then
Hey, guys, one person talk because she can't.
I'm old. So, I got it. So at authority, period.
No, authority to, just, and then it's written just the way it is.
And then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to make all of this. that we're gonna have.
Yes, all this list of things.
Okay, got it.
So, do we have a motion for this?
I move to amend, to adopt article, to recommend Article 6 as amended to give a warrant.
Seconded.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, my word.
Do we need to have it out of here?
No. Right, Matt? We don't need any more. Yeah. All very minor adjustments.
What triggered this second one?
I think what triggered it was, I'm trying to think back to
Which
everything.
second, what second?
This
Yeah.
was the second hearing.
The changes were there were a couple more that were a little more substantive last time.
It was, the slopes.
Yes,
And the
slopes,
50%?
yeah. Yeah, and I know we were talking about we hadn't quite nailed down what we were gonna do with
Data center.
the data center stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, But now we're done, we don't have anything more the planning board has to do before town meeting, right?
Correct.
On these warrant articles.
Yeah, finalize this, and then we can just send that off to whoever gets to take that the rest of the way.
To Ken.
I'll get there.
So I suggest that after
Yes.
after you amend these, that you send them to Matt and me for once over.
Sounds good.
Okay. So we are now going to move on to that wonderful, wonderful document called the Plan for Tomorrow by some folks and the Master Plan by others. Sometimes both by everybody. Chapter 8. Natural features. Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab one too. Thanks.
Also, did you get those?
Well, I found an error in my notes. Okay, Rich did a list of edits, and I did a list of edits. I hope they're not very substantial. I've got the first one, so I will start.
Greg, just so you know, I already passed those onward, so they're already in the hopper to get done.
Oh, good.
Say what?
These changes from Greg.
Did you do mine?
No, I had, Greg and I talked about these the other day.
I sent him that, I guess maybe you did
Yeah.
yours.
So I'm gonna add these.
Oh boy,
now.
I'm in the
So-
doghouse now. Rich is not gonna talk to me for weeks.
No, Rich, I got them now. They'll be in the hopper tomorrow too. So,
All right, but we need to review them with the board. My first one, 8.1, paragraph 2, second sentence. I missed, there are no numbers. I meant to write A and somehow it came out 1. My feeling is it should be that occur in a town. When you just say in town, you're talking about quotes Canterbury, it seems to me, and this is more generic.
You want to take out the word "a"?
I just want to put in the word A, in a town. And certainly, I mean, it's really minor, if anybody objects, speak up. 8.2,
Well, I have an 8.1, the word
okay,
heavily.
go ahead.
Second paragraph, the word heavily. That just seems weird to me, it should be significantly.
Second
Shall we say
paragraph.
significantly in
Natural
the second
features.
sentence?
That's a good, I'm with that.
Significantly?
where's that?
First sentence, the fourth word, significantly rather than heavily.
Second paragraph on the front page.
Okay.
Greg, I actually disagree with your,
I do
A.
your A, because, the rest of that sentence is affects the natural makeup of the town. Like, so, like, this sentence refers to a specific town, it's referring specifically to Canterbury, not to a generic town.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep
Hi.
up the good work. I'm not sure if I'm more enlightened or not, but
I doubt it. You look,
Fair.
I don't care. In town, it's fine. Joshua, you got significantly, any other on 8.1?
So delete A.
Yeah, don't put it in.
Just leave it.
It's fine. 8.2, right column, second paragraph. I'm saying delete the word provided. Second paragraph.
Yeah.
This feedback provided, so delete the word provided.
I've got real concerns about this graph. Starting with, the graph is probably sitting on top of the text such that community and survey Ys are cut off and look like Vs. But then it also doesn't really explain itself. Like the graph is rated, it's from 1 to 5. It's also from strongly agree, or strongly disagree to strongly agree. So it's kind of got two, what's the word for that? It's got two different axis labels that don't really make sense. The way the information is presented doesn't really make sense.
So,
And-
Logan, what would be really helpful is if you suggest a solution.
Maybe take off the numbers?
Yes.
I don't think this should be a bar chart for starters.
That's true.
It doesn't make sense as a bar chart. Like, they should be single points on this graph rather than bars.
Yeah, you're right.
Single points at the position of the end of the bar. It should probably not have the numbers, but then you kind of want to have all of the gradations between disagree and agree, which you can't fit there.
Well, the
And
gray lines are fine.
critically, nothing really explains what the question is. What are people agreeing to or disagreeing with? Obviously, in context, and because, I'm there, like, the question is, like, these things are important, those are agreements. But that's not on this page.
I kind of disagree with you, Logan, because the title on the graph says conservation priorities.
Well, then the
And
question.
so the one at the top
You should be
says, please let me finish.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rich, please.
So the title on the graph says conservation priorities, and then the list of the different different things that were measured. The one at the top has the longest bar, and in descending order, the bars get shorter. So I think that is what it's trying to delineate, is that the ones towards the top tend to be the ones that are closest to the strongly agree, where the ones at the bottom tend to be more towards the, I mean, that's a vague interpretation, but
I mean, I
it's just,
don't disagree with that interpretation, but this information is not well displayed as a bar graph, and none of that affects the question. This
Right.
doesn't say what question this graph is answering.
Okay, at some point, we have to shut this down and approve this. This bar graph has been out on the website for months, and to come in here in the last day and say it needs to be totally reworked, I have a problem with. I'd like to see a solution now tonight where we take the numbers off or something and
And we
move
should
on.
take the numbers off and move it slightly down so the Ys aren't cut off. In the headline. I don't have any problem with it.
I think we, at a minimum, need to
I don't have any problem with it as it is.
what question it is answering.
I think it's understood. Community survey results as good as this list page.
What do we agree or disagree with? Do we agree or disagree with wildlife corridors? That's not the question. The question is, should this be a priority?
It's a listing of choices of different priorities, and they're all listed there.
How about we say low priority, high priority on the ends of the graph?
But that's not what the question was.
What was the question?
If people are rating these from disagree to agree, then the question has to have been, should this be a priority to maintain, I guess?
In fact, we could put C survey results in appendix. But
Are the
I would-
survey results in the appendix?
Yeah, look at that.
It says it right in the, so if you, right above the graph, where the text is. In that paragraph, right above the graph, it says, sorry, I'm gonna fill my pellets soon. It says wildlife corridors were the highest rated priority for conservation of open space, followed by wildlife plant habitat, and it goes through the list. This feedback will help establish a clear and consistent direction for, so it's a visualization of the words right above it. That's what graphs are.
It's a terrible graph for this information. It is not
Well,
doing
maybe they could have been without a suggestion. I beg to differ.
I made a suggestion. I said that this information should, like, to be even remotely close to what it is currently, like, the points on the graph should be single points at the position of the end of the bar. Like, a bar is not an accurate depiction of the information that's here.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that we move on from this.
Well, there is a real problem here with the strongly disagree. Probably nobody disagrees with any of these, and so the strongly disagree, this was a priority. What's your priority? And it wasn't like, do you strongly disagree with open space or whatever? So it's the strongly disagree and strongly agree is not accurate.
That's not.
Well,
Nobody disagreed with.
That's not the intent of the bar graph. They're showing you
Relative
what is
priority.
the priority.
Right.
So one, the highest priority is at the top, the lowest priority is at the bottom. And you
Yeah.
can see that.
And that is not what I'm disagreeing with.
The strongly disagree is not accurate to what.
So let's change the label, as I had suggested earlier, to high priority and low priority.
Yeah, good.
I don't agree with that. Because that's not the question
What
that
do you-
people were asked.
What do you suggest?
People were asked, like, they were asked something along the lines of, like, how much of a priority do you think this should be? Or, like, do you think this should be a priority for the town? Obviously, I don't have the questions in front of me. I think anytime you've got a graph on a page that's generating this much argument as to what it means, it either needs a significant overhaul or to be removed. It is not serving its purpose. And I would be fine with removing it. I don't think it adds much here.
Yeah.
That's.
Because I'd like to keep the graph.
I'd like to keep it.
Agree. Strongly agree.
Change the verbiage to high priority, low priority.
Yeah, that's what it shows, relative priority.
And that's what the text above
Or
says,
just
the
simply-
highest rated priority.
Just simply agree or disagree. Take out strongly.
Well, no, it's not, no one I bet, no one disagreed with anything.
If you disagree, they'd be to the left. The bar would be to the left of something in the
Right.
middle.
Well, there is, yeah, the middle is 3. This is a level of agreement with things being a priority. That's the only way the question makes
But
sense.
it's not disagreed.
The disagree and agree
Well,
is just numbers, or
It makes
words
sense
on the
if
bottom
the
of the
question
thing.
is, do you feel this should be a high priority for the town?
Right.
Agree or disagree? That's probably how it was worded in the survey. And I think that the survey used numbers to, like, rate your level of agreement from 1, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree. So, like, all the information here makes sense, but the way it's presented does not make sense.
Right,
It's
well,
not
we've had
conveying what it should convey,
we've
and
had months to object to how this graph has been presented, and it hasn't been done.
So,
So-
assuming we're keeping the graph, because that seems like the sense of the room, what would you change to make this right?
I would eliminate the bars, use a single point on the line at the position of the end of the bars to indicate the average level of agreement that people have.
And what would you change about the labels?
And I would probably want it to say something to the effect of, I think this
Sorry,
needs-
Logan, but I gotta speak up. This has been active, it's been on the agenda for a number of times. You had an opportunity to provide feedback, in this manner. This has taken a lot of time on a simple graph.
And like I said, I would be fine with eliminating it. I don't think that would
No,
be a
I think
problem.
it should just stay.
All right, so let's take a vote here about the graph. Are we going to have the graph or not? Or will it say low priority and high priority or not? All those in favor of having the graph in? Want to do show of hands? Want to do eyes?
I strongly object to it in its current state. If we are keeping it, I think it needs changes.
And all those in favor of changing the verbiage to low priority, high priority?
Better than other options.
Okay, and now we are going to move on, please. 8.2. Anybody else got anything on page 8.2? 8.3, right, Paul? No, we did this, provided, delete the word provided, right?
That was 8.2.
8.3, no, it was 8.2, yes, provided. 8.3, left column, second paragraph. The last sentence says careful planning can ensure that future generations continue to experience the natural world in the same way as their predecessors. I'm proposing we strike the last words in the same way as their predecessors.
All the
So,
way to the end of the sentence?
yes, so the sentence would read, careful planning can ensure that future generations continue to experience the natural world.
Yeah. I agree.
You got one on 8.4? Rich?
I think so. It's been so long since I've done this. Oh, yes. I was confused when I looked this up. So 8.4, left column, at the bottom, almost like the second sentence from the bottom, the Hannah More lot.
Yeah.
And I actually went and did some research and found this. That lot is not on both those roads. And it's actually in between those two roads. It's out, but it's closer to Abbott Road. I mean, it's quite a distance. If you go Abbott Road and then you've got gosh, I can't think of Foster Road. I mean, for them to say that Abbott and Baptist Hill roads is,
So the word on, if you change between, would it be accurate?
if you look at my edit, it should, I said More lot is off Abbott Road and strike
Okay.
and Baptist Hill roads.
I don't care either way.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, we'll go with Rich's way, off Abbott Hill,
Off Abbott Road.
Let's see, let's just, are you catching these edits, Matt?
Thank you.
So next, I have
Back to you.
8.5, left column, fourth line from the top. It references a map. Did you get this change in here, Matt, or is this?
The maps, the table below, use 2009?
Yeah, right. So the change I'm proposing is that it should say map on page A whatever, the reference the appendix page.
The co-occurrence map?
Yes,
Okay.
right, maps. It says the maps and table below
It should be the maps on page something.
and the table
And
below.
the table below.
Correct.
Current use and managed forest land maps.
Yeah, you see that, Matt? It's the current use and managed forest land. Thank you, Logan. That's
Current use.
Page 8.5, right column, first line, same problem. Map on page. The And so we'd be striking included. 8.6, right column, second paragraph. Right column, second paragraph, second sentence. I'm suggesting we change several to a few. We have very few public water supplies. Several sounds like we have a number of them. Are people okay with that?
Yeah. One sec, that was 8.6.
I can't see where it said several.
Underground and drinking water supply,
Yeah.
third line down, first word.
Several small.
A few.
Gotcha.
What? I'm not finding it either.
It's right below
Right-hand
the
column.
heading ground and drinking water supply, the one that's in blue.
Okay.
3 lines below that, first word in the line.
Second paragraph. Second sentence.
Start the second sentence. Most residents rely.
Oh, okay. Well,
There are, strike the word several.
And put in a few. You find it?
yeah, I got a note right there.
Then that's same page,
Yeah,
you want to add the very end of the page, you want to add of the utmost importance.
yes, I do. So this is about groundwater supply for wells, and if we don't have any public water systems.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay.
So we're gonna strike remain a priority and replace it with should be of.
No, just leave it.
Yeah, just leave all that.
Just leave it all there. Just add it to the
Just
very
add
end.
it to the end?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. You good, Matt?
Yep.
My next one's 8.7. Left column. All right, this is about the,
I don't see Shaker Brook anywhere.
it's not there. So it says the brook between Baptist Hill Road. I think they didn't carry some edits from into this. Let me find it. Left column, it says brook west of Shaker Road and east of Baptist Road.
Except it says the opposite, Brook east
It says the opposite. Yeah.
and west of Shaker. Yep, that's where like
Right.
what's his name lives?
So this is the road that goes down, this is Shaker Brook.
Shaker Brook.
So it should be called Shaker Brook and not Brook east of Baptist Road and west of Shaker Road.
Well, all that can be in parentheses, east of and all that stuff, but it's Shaker Brook. Is that its official name on some map?
Yes.
State publishes?
Yes.
So just add the word shaker to the
To
beginning
the
of that
beginning,
sentence.
excellent idea.
To add that where?
The end of that last category on the left-hand side where it says Brook east of Baptist Hill Road,
Mm-hmm.
add the word shaker
In front of Brook.
in front of Brook to make it Shaker Brook east of
Ah.
Baptist Hill Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I got confused about something, sorry. Okay,
And
major wetlands along Brook, including Shaker Meadow. Well, the actual name of that is Meadow Pond. So, yes, and there's also Meadow Pond North. And so they're working from the headwaters down, so I'm going to suggest we go including Meadow Pond North and Meadow Pond.
It's just strike the word Shaker Meadow.
Right.
And instead it should say Meadow Pond North and Meadow Pond.
Meadow
Yeah,
Pond.
exactly.
You good with that, Matt?
Yep.
My next one is 8.7, right column, under the Shaker Ponds. Well, they say Shaker Pond, there is no pond called Shaker Pond. And then,
That's an important one.
so again, I'm going to say I'm going to go from the headwaters down.
Right.
So I'm going to call it Long Ditch is A, then B is Long Pond.
We call it Shaker Ditch. Is it called Long Ditch?
It's called Long Ditch.
Okay.
A. B is Long Pond. C is Runaway Pond. D is Fountain Pond, which is not the pond at the village. E would be ponds, plural, at the village. And last would be Carding Mill Pond.
How did they mess that up? We never caught that.
I think, that's what I was saying, I think this was all discussed and the edit never got in.
It's Fontaine too, isn't it?
Excuse me?
I think it's Fontaine.
Fountain, A-I-N?
I think it's AIM, but
I think it is too. Why do I think that?
it was their feasting ground.
Did we spell it wrong here? A-I-N, that's how it's spelled here.
Okay.
So Langford Pond isn't one of the Shaker Ponds, and New Pond?
All right, so yes. But I think they're trying to do this by watershed,
And watershed.
right? And those ponds are in the Guest Meadow Brook watershed.
Yeah, I guess so.
And officially Runaway is now that the ditch doesn't work, but I wasn't gonna change that around.
Right.
Did you get all that, Matt?
I think so, yeah.
So Matt.
Go through it
send us-
again.
So I was just gonna grab the notes that you had here. What's the heading? Is it Shaker Ponds plural or?
Ponds plural, yes.
Okay. So it's Long
And
Ditch.
A will be Long Ditch.
Yep.
B is not gonna be Runaway Pond, it's Long Pond.
Yep.
C is not Long Pond, it's gonna be Runaway Pond.
Mhm.
D is not Carding Mill Pond, it's Fountain Pond or Fontaine Pond or however you wanna pronounce it. E is gonna be ponds, make that plural at the village,
The village is capitalized like it is in the original,
Okay.
and then strike the end of that Fontaine Pond.
and that should be part
And
of
then F, the Long Ditch, strike that and it's Carding Mill Pond.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Got it.
And then under Guest Meadow Brook,
Yeah,
number E, pond, capital E, I'm wondering that should just be the word east,
Yes.
with no capital. If it fits.
Pond E.
Pond East,
Oh, east. Okay.
Yeah,
That
that's it.
convention is used in a lot of places, like
Oh,
under
okay.
Vernon Brook and then under.
Pardon me,
Brook.
you're right. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Like, I think it's a little silly too, but if we're gonna change it there, we have
No,
to
no,
change it
you're
in
right.
like a lot of
No, it's
places.
everywhere, you're right.
Yeah, good point, Logan, thank you.
So aren't there 8 ponds total on that system? Not the equivalent.
Well, but
Yeah, but
they
like
stuck a
Factory
few of them
Pond
in.
is drained out, there's no water in it. So
Oh.
do they want to, I was trying not to add things that they didn't have, I was just trying to be correct.
And Lightford and New, even though they're part of that E, they're just.
Yeah, they're
I
probably
don't think
those
the- I
other
think
waters.
the 8 are down below. We're down below.
okay, I'll pick up on page 810. Unless somebody's got something on 8.8 or 8.9. Scenic roads. I put, they should be identified. I've heard this a number of times since I've been here. I've tried to find where, because I was told that Baptist Hill Road is supposed to be a scenic road. And I was told that by the electricians that came up through. My suggestion here, without belaboring it and going on and on, is that scenic roads should be listed somewhere.
They are, I found this just the other day.
That's
where?
Was it in transportation chapter?
I was wondering if it was one of those road map things. I thought there was a list of scenic roads.
We always get it when the electrical companies come, they seem to have.
Yeah.
Yes,
They seem to
they
know,
know.
Does it affect what trees they can cut?
Yeah.
but
They're required to come to the planning board if it is a scenic road.
Right.
they can't aggressively trim trees on scenic roads.
Yeah, the idea is to have canopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
The idea is to have stuff that can fall on the wall.
that's it.
You read this? It does. Electricity bill again. Not my house. Your house.
Hey, John, you got your magnifying glass?
When you can use your phone, I guess.
No, I think the copy might be horrible.
What are we trying to do? I can see that.
All right, so there is an official list of scenic roads.
Yes, there is.
How about this map? Let's take the note to add the list of scenic roads to the appendix.
Okay. To the appendix or in this paragraph.
Okay. That works.
That really depends on how many of them there are.
Yeah.
If there's
There are
like
quite a few.
10, maybe we can fit it on the page. If there's more than that, I don't think we can.
I would say scenic roads, see page such and such.
That's a good point, Rich.
Okay, moving on to my next edit. 811. This page is a mess. The text at the top of the page should be spread out across the top. It is currently left justified into a left column.
Okay.
Why should it be spread out across the top?
Sorry, 811.
Like, there's nothing special about this text. Why should it be
Yeah.
formatted like the page before it?
It's a mess.
Like, I agree that it's a little odd, but I don't think extending the text across the page fixes the
Well,
problem.
like on page, look at page 8.7.
But that's a heading, kind of.
And see how the heading goes all the
Yeah,
way
but this
across?
isn't a heading, this is a
Yeah.
continuation.
It's, yeah, this isn't a heading, it's not specifically tied to this picture, it's just continuation of the
I think it's right the way
paragraph
it
on the
is.
previous page.
It is a little weird, but I don't know how to.
That's just weird.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
And another comment that I had is that same page, a picture description would be nice
Yeah,
here.
that's right.
Oh, that's good, yeah,
The
Merrimack
picture
River.
description.
Well, is this much I do?
Yeah, I think so,
I
Yeah.
do too.
but I'm not positive, but I think it
It
is.
is.
It's what would you call
Much
it?
I do,
What you do,
much I do.
the conservation area.
Right.
Oh, I
On the,
never heard that name.
Yeah.
How do you spell it? Like the word?
MUCH-I-
No, no, it's MUCHYADO.
I think it's EDO.
It's
MUC.
I've definitely
Oh,
heard
I've
people
seen that
pronounce
word.
it Muchedo.
MUCHY.
I
It's
think it's
listed-
EDO,
it's-
but
It's somewhere in here.
It's listed in the,
it's
my
probably on
chapter.
the.
Page 8.4,
Okay.
on the right-hand column. It's MUCHYEDO,
Oh, yes.
and it's Banks. Much I do, Banks. That's near where Riverdale was.
Yeah.
It's
See,
the,
Mark-
it's
Mark
where the
Stevens started
asphalt
across
is supposed to
the,
be, right?
Hannah Dustin
Okay.
Yeah.
Memorial now.
Okay, you good, Matt?
Yes.
Rich,
Page
next?
812. Let's see, what do I got here? Page 812, top description, add a word. The sentence, natural features and character should read natural features and its character.
Description.
So you want to add its?
It's, yeah.
Why?
Why is the
I'm
word
trying to-
character in here at all? Why not just natural features?
trying to see, it was so long ago that I did this, natural features and character. This
What
chapter is
number is
focused
it?
on the town's current natural
There's
features.
not a number, the top heading right under objectives and recommendations.
The chapter's focused on the
Like-
town
Character,
natural features and
and
I don't think there's
it's-
anything particularly incorrect about adding it to that sentence, but I also don't think it adds anything.
If it's
to
gonna
that.
add it, it does not have apostrophe.
Just,
Excuse me.
just reread the sentence to
Alright,
yourself and see if it adds anything to it. If not, then moving on.
Well, it sounds like there's no objection to its, so shall we
It's a
just
non-apostrophe, it's,
Okay,
I don't think we should add unnecessary words without a good reason. I don't believe.
it sounds better, it flows better.
I
Current
disagree.
natural features
Character.
and its character, we're talking about the town.
I'm
But-
agreeing with them.
It, yeah, we are talking about the town, but we don't need to say it's,
Is that a hill you wanna die on?
Current natural
I'm
features.
opposed to adding an unnecessary word.
Okay.
If it was there, I probably wouldn't argue for removing it, but it's not there, and
To me, it sounds better if it's there.
I'm gonna argue against that.
I'm gonna argue against making changes if they're not, needed.
Okay.
Next one.
13, objective 3, goal 2, strike the first sentence having to do with Kimball Pond Road and Morrow Road intersection.
It looks like the C on that sentence is unusually large.
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
does.
it looks like that's a leftover. from-
But that's getting.
Strike the whole
that
sentence, moving
getting
on.
struck. It was a sentence that was cut and pasted in from the transportation section. It's not supposed to be
Yeah,
here.
so it doesn't, yeah, never
Right.
mind. That's going away.
Next,
That's it on that chapter.
So
My
number
edits
2
now-
was encourage landowners to protect, is that what number 2 is there?
Yeah.
Yes.
right, the second sentence stays.
We'll move to the appendix.
And then approve them both at the same time?
Sure.
All right. Appendix. Who's got a copy of the appendix?
He just did, right here.
Oh, there, yes, thank you.
No barges.
All right, Rich, go.
Page A1.1. Oh, wasn't there a census done in 2020? Hold on. Bear with me here, because this was done like 2 months ago. My question is, wasn't there a census done in 2020? Why isn't that data? Because they're talking, it wasn't included in this. And
By
We
2000,
probably didn't have it when we started working on this.
Right.
That's probably true. Well, I'm looking at page 3, and that shows 2020. Matt, can you
Yeah.
help us here?
so if you go halfway down, let's see, the semicolon and there's a period. So where it says by 2010, not since 2010, by the population of Canterbury reached a total of 2352. That has changed. I know it is.
Where-
because
Where's that?
Well,
it's right in the middle.
that sentence is written that way because of the sentence after it. Like by 2010, blah, 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 blah. And then the next sentence is since 2010, however, contrasting statement.
More than triple that of the census data from 1960.
Yeah, no, I think it's right the way it is.
I think that makes sense.
As we start nitpicking this, we run the real risk of like forgetting to see the whole thing in context. And
Yeah.
like, I absolutely agree with you. It would be nice to have 2020 data in here, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with this 2010 data.
Yeah, in the second sentence,
Because the
next sentence.
2010 data is there to indicate a tipping point.
Yeah.
2010 is the tipping point.
Then it talks about the
My point-
projection. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Rich.
My point is that if there was a census in 2020, and I believe we started this in 24, maybe 23.
Rich, if you look at the following sentence,
it incorporates the fact that there's a 2020 census.
No,
Since
you mean the
2010,
project-
however, the magnitude of growth has slowed. That's like, well, the
Yeah,
only
but
way
it-
we know that is because of the 2020 census.
So if you look at page A1.5, it lays out 2000, 2010, 2020 decennial census, and then it also has the 22 ACS.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the
No, I
information
think
that's on
it's the way it is.
A11.
Good way to-
my point was, why isn't that data in this paragraph or included in the write-up of the paragraph? But moving
Because
on,
it's an intro paragraph, it's not like all the details. The details are in A1.5.
fine.
Yeah.
Not the hell I want to dive in.
Next, Rich.
A1, 6. A1, 6.
So this is school enrollment.
Second paragraph, last sentence, strike the word also. Where the hell is it?
Children also attend Belmont Middle School.
Yeah, it's the
The
last
very
sentence.
last
Yeah.
sentence is the word also. there.
Yeah, children, I shouldn't say that they, I'm saying to strike the word also because it's an extra word.
Yeah.
Children
You're right.
attend Belmont Middle School, period.
Can I take us back to A15 for a typo?
Hold on, let's finish this and then back there. Are we all good with striking the word also there? All right, how about after elementary school, children attend Belmont Middle School and Belmont High School?
Well, I think that's implied. The elementary school is Canterbury and the middle school and the high school are Belmont.
Makes sense to me. Anybody got a problem? We're taking out also. Logan?
Second paragraph on A1.5, day-to-day living for an aging population. There's no E in the word aging.
You want to look at that?
Thank you.
Where is it?
Right here, day-to-day living for an aging.
A17.
17.
Retract my
Where?
Okay, and then I had this a couple times, talking about graphs, and it was probably because of the crappy copy that I had, that it was very difficult to discern, so I was suggesting to use a broader palette of colors, but looking at the properly printed
one,
copy,
it works.
Yeah, it looks good.
because, for example, it was very, on the copy that we had, where it says 28% and 15%, it was very difficult to discern the differences.
Right.
I will say,
especially
like, from
black
an
and white.
accessibility perspective, best practice would definitely be to actually use a broader palette of colors there. Like, this is readable to anyone who has normal color vision, at least as it's printed here, but it's not ideal.
I mean, you get
Not
up,
a hill I'm dying on right now.
you get 3% and 21%, you gotta really look close to see that there's a color difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, and most critically, you can't tell which thing, which,
I mean, do you
legends.
want Matt to investigate a different color palette? That's,
I would recommend we use a different color palette, maybe like the full rainbow.
Okay. I'm not, it's not me, so it's somebody else.
yeah, no, just a broader
Yeah,
palette.
there are a lot of
So
colors
that-
we're not
yeah.
using there, so that you,
Yeah.
that sounds like a good
We're
solution.
only using blue.
I mean, I'm very in favor of blue. This color palette is basically my wardrobe, but yeah.
A19,
Yep,
text on the left side, change word right to above. So the figure on the right
thank you,
should say the figure
above.
above.
Hold on, where's this? So
Building permits, right under building permits, A19.
So strike the words on the right strike
Oh.
those and insert the word above.
And on the same page, in the blue box,
Yep.
housing needs of the aging misspelled population.
Hold on.
Aging should not have an E in the middle.
Wait, so
Title.
In the blue box.
oh, right there. I was in the text. Okay.
So
I
take,
did the same
strike the E out of aging, pop, you,
Good?
what was, I'm sorry, there was something wrong, is population spelled wrong?
No, aging is, right?
Okay, that's the only change in the blue box?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
A110, again, I'm suggesting a different, broader palette of colors. It's hard to differentiate using the key. So if you use the key and you want to tell the difference between 21 and 50 and 51 and to
I don't think
100,
anybody's arguing with you, Rich, I
Yeah,
think you're
we're
right,
agreeing
yeah, better, more color, more
Actually,
power.
the really interesting thing about that is that there is no 21 to 50 or 51 to 100.
Ah, that's why.
That's why you can't tell the difference. They're not on here. There are no towns that have those limits. Concord has greater than 100. Everyone else is 11 to 20 or less.
maybe that's why they,
Maybe you could just strike 21 to 50 and 51 to 100 from
Oh,
the
somebody,
key.
it's
No.
gonna make somebody
Is
confused.
that, yeah. Then
fix it, Matt, please.
I will pass it on.
Page A111.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Fixed layout of paragraph, uncalled for break in the middle. So
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, increased
Oh, yeah.
consistently.
same page, down on the graph, same page, shift the COVID-19 marker over a little.
To the right.
It started, it started in March of 2020
That's correct.
and through the year 21. So
Right.
that was red.
Technically speaking, it did start in 2019, but your point is valid.
Not in America, it didn't start until January 2020 was the first case in America.
Documented.
Documented.
First document.
They call it March 11th was the date.
Anyhow,
March 16th
good?
was our
My
last
son's
day.
birthday,
Yeah.
and he was
Before
like,
we went. Yep.
You good over there, Matt?
Yep. I am.
Next,
Guys with me? A113. This was horrible. Major fixes to the graph. If you just take 2 minutes and you look at this graph and you use the data up, the data points are not accurate. In the text above, it uses numbers such as 2, 2.5, 2.8, and 2.9, and none of these points are on the graph below. It starts at 3%.
That's a really good point.
So, I mean, we're talking about percentages of unemployment that are in the 2s, 2%, 2.8, 2.5, and you look at the graph, and there isn't a single point below 3.
I wonder if it was like the graph was a percent change or something.
I suspect it might have had something to do with maybe.
Formatting, when it got moved.
Exactly. Like I'm wondering if the lines.
But
shifted up.
the
Yeah.
data points are not accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
That's-
COVID-19 dates need to shift also.
Same page, the y-axis.
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, so that's one of the edits. Same page, the y-axis is not lined up correctly. Each label should be on one of the horizontal reference lines. So,
All right, so 3
0,
is,
0,
4
and
is
3, and then 4 should be the next line, and 5 should be the next line, 6 should be.
Maybe that's
see
the
that?
problem.
Matt?
Maybe,
Part of the problem.
Yeah.
because what if,
That's what
yeah,
I'm
what if the
wondering.
3% line should be 2%? Because we've got 0 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. It
Right.
really should be 0 and then 2 and then 4 and then 5, and that would fix the data.
Yeah, whoever's doing the graphs
the
needs to
y-axis.
fix it.
2.
Right.
Start with the y-axis and then see what happens, but it's a mess.
Yeah. That's what I think happened. It looks like it was probably something like that.
And then again, the COVID-19
Shift to the right.
Well, if you
shifted
shift it to the right, you have to stack the words. 'cause it's
a
not gonna
lot.
fit.
It's gotta go a lot to the right, because it should start with 2020.
You could
Okay.
strike the word pandemic, or you could strike COVID-19.
Yeah. You ready, Matt?
Yep.
A114.
Okay.
The radar chart. Oh, I love this one.
What does that even mean?
The radar chart is difficult to read. What does the numbers 160, 480, and 800 represent? I spent a good amount of time on this. Numbers of people, question mark. The graph just doesn't match up with the data in the table below the graph. It is horrible.
I think that's.
I'm a science guy. I like puzzles. I
Yeah.
love puzzles. This was an unsolvable puzzle for
This
me.
doesn't work for me either.
Because it was, I was struggling with it, trying to say, okay, this is different, I'm gonna learn something, and I learned to hate it. Because it just, there was no congruence to the data. It was just, it said one thing here, and it was a different thing below, and,
Did you ever
Okay.
figure out what those numbers mean?
yes, it was, well, if you look, they're multiples of 160. So
Oh.
160 plus
It's distance.
320,
Is it distance?
and
No.
listen, let me talk. 160, if you double that, that's 320. You
Yeah.
add 160 is 480, and each line is a multiple of 160.
But
Yeah.
what are they, miles? Are they,
It doesn't make sense for it to be distance because the little colored bar for greater than 50 miles is like in line with what would be, what, 720 or
Hey
something?
Matt,
Yes.
Fix this.
fix it.
This is all,
This is a fascinating chart. I kind of love it, but also I totally get
I know, I did
it's
the
a
same
useless
thing.
way of looking at information.
I did the same thing.
And so this looks like it uses the on the map thing on the census webpage.
Yeah, but
And I wonder if it's been scrunched down.
yeah, but if somebody that works in Laconia.
So
Somebody, yeah.
So the south and north thing, I don't believe it actually. Maybe that's aggregate data.
well, south would be
But some-
Concord, you know,
Concord,
towards
Boston, New York?
Yeah,
I
but
guess
somebody
north
goes
is
to
Laconia
And Meredith.
and
Sure.
Meredith.
And those people are the tiny,
Littleton.
tiny.
So
little-
nobody goes west because of the river.
Nobody goes west because you can't
Okay,
go west.
so nobody, because you just can't get there from here.
Nobody goes to Keene.
So there you have the barrier, and then that little thing, that must be going towards either Rockingham County or
Durham.
Stratford County, yeah, Durham or Pittsfield, yeah.
All
It's-
right, so,
So
we don't need to use more time on this, do we?
Well, yeah, it says view as a radar chart, it's like a drop down.
yeah, I see that.
Maybe
Yep.
there are better options,
Yeah, I'll
or
see.
like at least
It
more
is cool,
understandable
it
options.
is cool though.
It's a fascinating.
That's the
way
last of my
looking at it.
edits
It is cool.
for the appendix.
All right.
All right,
What is chapter 9?
Appendix.
appendix. So that's there's been debate whether it was gonna be chapter 9 or appendix, labeled appendix. There is no chapter 9.
And then it says add maps. Someone's comment, Greg's comment.
Yeah, that was the current use and forestry maps. need to be in the
Oh,
appendix so that they can be
actually-
referenced.
It's this road map, so
Or possibly some other maps too.
there's
Lots of
this,
maps.
the road maps also, the road maps, that's all.
Sure, I'm in that radar
Okay.
chart.
You got maps up there, Matt?
Upstairs.
I'll
What are
say-
those for?
No,
Look at it if you wanna see
Sorry,
it.
we're the
Yeah,
dot in the middle.
there's copies if you guys want to look
That's
at it.
not three-dimensional.
I'll take a set of those home.
Yeah,
All right, so,
With a
let's
zero.
move on.
so, can we have a
Radar
motion
chart's not
to approve,
Revise it.
can we have a motion to
I
approve chapter
move.
8 and appendix 1?
I move to accept chapter 8 and appendix 1 as amended.
Second.
Move to approve.
All those, further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Does that mean after 5 years, we're done with the?
Yeah, and I didn't bring any candy.
should have brought a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to do that?
No, only after it's actually published and like.
On the porch.
I forgot you were there.
All right, do we have anything else on the agenda, folks?
Yeah, you had adding links for materials or something?
Yeah, what does that mean?
New business.
That is for you to go look and read the master plan before you come to the meeting by clicking on that link. Thank you for that. I mean, this is the first time we've tried including a link in the agenda rather than, we also sent them out as the information package. So that's a question for folks. If the stuff is on the website, would you like a link to it so you can go to it to look at it?
Sure.
Or-
Might help, yes.
Yeah.
And Matt, is there any problem with us doing that?
Say that again?
So when we publish,
Website professional says no, there's not a problem with this.
What?
You can link to whatever you want, whenever you want, it's not gonna.
No, that's.
Oh,
no, it's about the
91A.
law of meeting agendas and stuff. What I did here is include a link to the master plan that's on the website. Right?
Yep.
But if you look at the agenda in 10 years, because the link might be ephemeral, then it won't be accurate, but that seems like a.
But I would say at that point in time, the agenda was accurate, right? Like, you could also say available, or who's available at town hall these days, these hours, and the hour changes, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But
A PO box on the agenda.
All I'm doing, I just thought it might be convenience
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
board members. That's the only reason that it's there.
Well, I think it's convenient for the
Yeah.
public too. If
Right, and
there's
the public,
something
yeah,
that should be
yeah.
referenced, and we can reference an
Yeah.
online link, we should reference an online link.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
2025. Link
All
the
right.
thing.
What's adding links from materials? So what's that mean?
That's what we just talked about.
Oh.
Is it okay for us to, for me to
topic
be
of
telling
adding links.
Michelle to put the link,
Oh.
the link to.
Or Cal.
Or Cal,
Or Cal.
or Jan.
Can you add
Yeah,
things
someone
to the
tell
page?
you.
You know how to do that now?
I got a couple for you.
I had a couple for you
You're
from
not
solid
telling me,
waste
right?
too.
I used to do military intelligence,
Neat. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Wait a minute, there was one thing I wanted to ask Matt, I'm sorry. Yes, what do you know about
Motion temporary.
tiny houses and living in town, tiny house? So a tiny house is not a RV, it's not a ADU, or a tiny house could be an ADU.
Problem is that they don't have septics.
Right.
They don't have,
To be approved as an ADU, it would have to have a septic.
correct.
Well, tiny house
They
isn't
don't-
really a technical thing, because some of them are site built, and some of them are on trailers, some of
Not
them are.
usually,
are
they're not
ma-
usually site built.
Okay.
Most of
And some
them,
of them are manufactured elsewhere and then just put on a foundation. Some of them stay on the trailer.
Yeah, there are a lot of different
There's
ones.
Some of them are effectively travel trailers, and some
They
of them
don't
are
have
effectively small
electrical.
Well,
hookups.
my daughter lived in one for like 2 years and had electrical and plumbing and everything because it was tied into
Yeah.
whatever, this was California.
Yeah, they're like tiny
Is
house
it Dover?
parks where you put them in.
Yeah,
just like
somewhere.
you do
some
a
of
mobile
them
home.
connected
So
with
why are we
towers.
talking about this?
Dover, they had a village of them. It was either Dover or Rochester, somewhere out. I think it was Dover, might have been Rochester or one of those towns. And it was within the last year, there was a move afoot to provide low income,
It's Dover.
Workforce.
workforce housing. I don't want to say low income, it might not even be workforce, but affordable housing. And because there was a severe lack of it, and so they proposed, and they put these, probably a bad comparison, but like tiny house parks. You know, it wasn't a trailer park, it was a tiny house park, and there's a whole bunch of them, and they become communal places for communal living. I'm losing my words.
Yeah.
So what's the
Greg, what's
good or
the
bad
very
thing
social.
about them?
Here's my question. So we have a couple properties in town where there are tiny houses parked. Uh,
Oh, we do?
can somebody live in them without
I think so. My understanding is the closest you can get to, you know, with the regulation side of things, is like a mobile home, basically, right? So I think a lot of them have some of those requirements to travel over the highway and all that. So they're more that and less camper, because they have the more, they have different code they gotta comply with.
There's some serious
So,
So,
what's that?
It's
There are
either
serious
either a
issues.
mobile home or they are simply a small house. And that's
Now,
determined-
if they're like a stick-built tiny home,
Yeah, like, does it have a
It's-
foundation, are you
yeah.
hooking up to the grid, are you
then it's,
hooking?
it's attached ADU, right?
I mean, it could be.
Well, that's, I mean, sort of to Josh's point, the term tiny house doesn't actually mean anything. Really, the question is, does this have wheels? Does it hook up to a
It's
septic
just name
system?
on
Does it
there.
hook up to
What's the
electric?
house supposed
So
to
why
have?
are we talking about this?
Yes.
Because apparently we've got some presumably on wheels tiny houses that Greg is concerned about.
So, I was just wondering if Matt had some information.
Yeah, I mean,
But do we need to, it sounds to me like we need to address the issue for our next warrant
I would, yeah.
session for 2026 town
Is
meeting.
it
Yeah.
an enforcement issue if somebody's living in basically what's a mobile home that doesn't have adequate septic or whatever?
Sure, it's an enforcement issue, but enforcement and our ordinance have to go together.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is the definition.
Yeah.
That's the challenge, and to make sure that, you know,
Well, it seems like the ones that are problematic, or at least the ones that Greg's concerned about right now, if I'm not misunderstanding, would fall under the definition of a mobile home, which we already have rules about.
My only concern about it is I see it coming down the road.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
So to
it's
speak.
here.
I would say calling it a tiny
Um,
house doesn't mean anything. Either it's a mobile home or it's a very small house.
These
And if it's a
are,
very small house, it's fine, as long as it meets all the other recommendations. If
And
it's
if it's
a mobile home,
it's
then
fine if it meets all the
we
recommendations.
have rules about mobile homes,
Yeah,
and it should follow those.
right, so, sounds like it wouldn't be too hard.
I mean, there's.
yeah, I
Have
think
a definition that
definition's
clears that up,
probably-
yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of high schools, they're, construction trades and whatever, it's a great thing for these kids to build throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, they raffle it off
Right.
to try to recoup some of the money, some of the, you know, the investment that they put into the materials to build the thing, and then they raffle it off. There's some schools that have waiting lists. They have waiting lists for these houses to purchase. So, it's here, it's already here.
Logan, I think you had a motion that we were
I
all
would like
waiting
to
for.
reiterate my motion to adjourn.
I'll reiterate my second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much, and